But still we have no answers. No one has yet claimed responsibility. Dr. Talos Rucker, the leader of ARC, posted a letter condemning the attack. Sources close to the investigation, however, tell me that Rucker and ARC may be behind it after all. I don't know about you folks, but with the upcoming...
Interesting pre-game ritual you've got there. You getting pissed enough to end this guy yet?
I got a no-kill order.
Is that right? Would have thought he'd done enough to warrant extreme prejudice.
All right. So Huber,
Sup?
last week you
Yeah.
got to go play a little bit more of Deus Ex, Mankind Divided.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what you got to play.
So I got to play the intro, the tutorial section, which we played at E3.
Yeah. In a way, like, I sort of get it. Like, I think because it is a tutorial and it's a good way to introduce people to a lot of the abilities and mechanics. But it's funny to me because, like, this is literally the third time that I know of that's previewed this.
Yeah.
Like, I was a little bummed out at E3 actually because, like, oh, I played that months ago. But okay, thank you.
So it's been going around for a while, but I was happy because now I got to play it on PC finally.
Oh, okay.
Mouse and keyboard and all that. A little. First thing I'll get out. We'll start here. Is little disappointed with the PC version.
Well, probably the mouse and keyboard controls, I think, is just your main issue, right? Or is there other parts of the PC version?
Visually as well. I had it side by side next to a PS4 copy, and I saw the PS4 console. For sure, a PS4. Looking at the PC, just side by side visually, they looked nearly identical. That's good for console owners out there, but the coming from PC, the original Deus Ex Invisible War, even Human Revolution, it was just kind of disappointing. Especially when I talked to him, I asked him about it, and the producer, he said, a third party is working on the PC version. They kind of ship it to us, and we approve it and ship it back.
I think the same thing happened with Human Revolution.
Yeah, and that just kind of bums me out. It just and it felt weird, the mouse and keyboard, and there were more bugs. They said they were ironing them out, but yeah, I found myself going back to a controller.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
which was very weird for me.
I played it with controller
Yeah.
before as well, and I'm actually doing the capture on Human Revolution and playing with the controller. I think my first run through, I was just getting back into PC gaming on Human Revolution, and so I think I did play through it with mouse and keyboard my first time, but I still find it more comfortable with the controller. That's just probably my background.
Cool.
So
anyway, yeah.
But you got to play through the intro level, which, to explain to people who haven't gotten tired of it, is this hotel in Dubai, and basically you're trying to get through and get to a contact without alerting anybody, and so you can kind of sneak by guys, you can kind of take guys down, or you can find the alternate passages to sort of slip by everyone and get to that critical moment. Did you do anything differently this time?
Yeah, I followed your OP secret route through the vents, going around the map to get everything done. The first time at E3, it's E3 chaos.
Yeah.
Went guns blazing. This time had my own space, so I could play like I usually played. Played it slow. Last negative. This is it. This is the only other negative, and I was starting off negative here. The way, again, it just comes down to movement for me. The way Jensen is represented in the lore, in the world, in the cutscenes, with the augmentations, flying through the levels, gracefully moving, it doesn't fully translate to the gameplay for me. Just the way he moves. Cover is a little weird, kind of sticking to the walls. When you go around a wall, it has that weird, motion where he goes and the very right angle-y, it's like hard right angles. Again, it preview build. Game is still a little bit away now, a month. They can obviously do a lot, but just the movement was a negative for me. Other than that, though, after the Dubai mission, we got to the first hub, the first city, and there were so many incredible side quests, Daniel Bloodworth.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. I got so sucked in to the side quests and just to exploring the locations that I didn't even make it to the next location. I don't really think anyone did. There was just so much meat there, and there was just so many ways to go about it. Like, even playing the original Deus Ex now, you know, it's an older game, but this just felt like there were so many ways to go about exploring the environment, even when you weren't supposed to be doing anything.
Right.
There were just little, you know, so many more doors, so many more rooftop windows you could go in, sewers. There was just so much more you could do than Human Revolution. It was awesome. It was overwhelming to an extent.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, honestly, in some ways, I feel a little bit intimidated by this game.
Yeah.
Because I see that hub area and what they've shown so far, and it feels like it's so dense that there's so many different alternate ways to go through things. And we talked about, you know, when I did my preview event before, you know, they gave us a chance to go through that one theater level like over and over and over again until they finally were like, we don't want you to start breaking the game. But I went through and like I found this path to go in and that path to go in and like, okay, then kill nobody path and the kill everybody path. And then they like shipped me some extra footage and I'm like, wait, you can do that?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was there. You know, so it's crazy, like all of the different things that you have to work with. And then especially like in terms of builds of like, okay, are you going to use, you know, weapon mods, and are you going to use, you know, just silent takedowns? Are you going to use like the PEPS attachment, which is now not like a gun, but it's like one of your arm attachments, or the Typhoon now has the non-lethal version, so it's like you can just like do the knockout gas.
Love the Typhoon. Awesome too for all you role players out there. You can change your jacket.
Oh really?
I didn't get any new ones, but I was in the menus and it was like, all right, which jacket are you wearing? I didn't have any other ones and I couldn't find one to buy. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna go buy a jacket and couldn't find any. We can customize the way he looks now, which is cool. And obviously, you know, it doesn't need to be reiterated just how intense some of those conversations and decisions are.
Yeah.
Just from the very beginning, you know, the evil is afoot. There's some corruption going on, and it's kind of like, who do you want to help in this situation? It just felt the intricate webs felt like a lot more compared to Human Revolution. Like, it's just blowing it away already.
Nice. Yeah.
Opening area, like the first side quest. I'm already sweating. So many decisions to make, so many people to interact with. I'm like, oh, well, I could talk to the shop owner, or I could talk to the gang member in the back, or I could sneak in up to this guy's apartment. Like, it was overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Like, what intimidates me about it is I'm not very content with, oh, okay, there's the objective. Let me just get to the objective. Like, no, there's a door there, and I can hack into it. So I want to hack into that, and then I want to bust through that, and I want to see like every small little route, every little vent, every way to get through and like just get intimate with those levels. And it feels like it's like gonna be so hard. Like you really have to like pick and choose what abilities you want to invest in.
I love that you're saying this, Bloodworth. It respects that outlook more than anything, because I got stuck at a point where it was like, all right, you need to go in there, but I was just looking at it at face value, and I was like, well, I can't really just run in there. It was like a quarantined off zone, and I just kept looking for ways, and you really had to think outside the box in terms of how to tackle even the most simplest of objectives. So it's shaping up. It just seems a lot more intricate and a lot more choice, a lot more freedom, obviously. Just, you know, all those Deus Ex qualities a step above.
Now you're talking about some of the conversations and stuff, which is something that I really didn't get to do. I was basically in combat stealth levels. Like, how does that play out? Like, did you get into anything where you really were trying to do the whole influence this person, persuade this person kind of thing? Absolutely.
There's some corruption in the early going. Kind of a guy that kind of runs the checkpoints and is taking advantage of other people. Again, not trying to be as vague as possible. But he's taking advantage of people, and you have to deal with him. And there's a couple different ways to deal with him. You can deal with other people. You can deal with him directly. You can influence another person to kind of influence him. So again, it's just layers on top of layers for these conversations and these quests.
Those cops won't be a problem anymore.
Did they still have any of that like weird like alpha, beta, omega stuff where you're like reading a personality? Is it more direct kind of interactions? Or
I didn't get to any like big bosses or high level characters like that. This was more of a side kind of deal.
Sure.
So I don't know if it has those. But yeah, I didn't encounter any of that.
Okay. I mean, I think to me in some ways that felt a little bit unnatural. It'd be cool if they did that in more subtle ways. It was just strange to like, okay, I'm gonna watch these meters and see which ones light up the most. So it'd be cool if Mankind Divided moves away from that, and also subtlety in terms of just how you interact with people. Because I felt like it was always kind of on the nose in Human Revolution, where it wasn't necessarily like good guy, bad guy.
Yeah.
But it was always like, are you gonna be empathetic or are you gonna be like cold and detached?
There's a really intense, I don't want to spoil it, there's a really intense, this kind of ties into the guy taking advantage of people. There's a really intense conversation where it is so middle of the road, like good or evil, not morally gray. It's like, well, what do you as a human value? What do you think about this and this? It's intense. It's heavy straight away. Like, and again, I spent like 3 hours doing side quests, and I got so lost in the world. I wasn't even on the main path, and I was just exploring, and it felt so good. Little bit of spoiler I'll go into just to end it. The augmentations.
Yeah. No, that's why I was curious. What augs did you get into? Did you actually get to try the Icarus Dash?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay, because I wanted to see if they'd improve that at all.
Did not get to try it, but found out about the experimental augs. Do you know about this, Blood Earth? Have you talked about this at all?
I don't think so.
Okay. Little spoiler. You can X now.
Gameplay spoiler.
If you don't want to hear it, or you can continue to the end of the video, which is probably 1 or 2 minutes away. Jensen has some secret, unknown augmentations in him that he was not aware of. And that has story and gameplay ramifications, and you kind of have to, like, using those experimental ones is kind of risky to Jensen. It uses more power. It can like they can deteriorate you. I didn't go into like full on specifics of what that means, but they were all like staticky and weird in the augmentation menu. So it seemed kind of like a choice. Like, do you want more power at the expense of something? So again, they didn't go into full specifics, but again, the story ramifications revolving that are very cool.
That's cool. Yeah, because one of the things that I thought was really good was the way that they set it up. So like what is the shield called? Do you remember?
Oh, I forget.
The new shield
like
ability.
Titan shield, maybe.
Titan, yeah. Like they set it up to where it's like if you use that, like it uses a huge chunk of your power, and you really like it just starts sucking it away, like flat out. Like, because I think what it is like most of them, the augs that you use, like it'll take a small chunk off, and then as you're using it, it will drain, and then when you stop using it, it'll refill back to where that chunk was, and if you use it again, it'll take another. But with the Titan shield, it just like drains your battery. So it'll be interesting to see if there's what the ramifications for these experimental logs are.
Oh, sorry, really quick. Breach. We didn't talk about Breach. I played Breach.
Okay. I don't like Breach. What do you think?
I like how much context there is. There's story around it. I thought it was like a go into a multiplayer lobby and mess around. It's single player. There's leaderboards, but you are directly tied to kind of the the main game. I asked about that. They didn't go into full details. They said there's some connective tissue in there. It felt fun. It felt like like once I really got into it and they started getting more complex and more difficult, it was a rush. It's an adrenaline rush. It's like a heist. That's kind of how I looked at it. You know, you go in, you're stealing the data, and then you have to escape.
Yeah.
And again, there's context. There's like a hacker person talking to you. There was even this little like Revelations 2 style like raid mode type room where you go into in the beginning and kind of jack in. So I was surprised by how much story and context there was. And then you pick up items in the main game that give you things in Breach to kind of make Breach even more relevant and more meaningful.
Interesting.
So I think it's kind of a total package. You know, you beat the game and you beat Breach as well, versus this kind of, you know, offshoot multiplayer-esque challenge mission type thing.
Because that is kind of what is like speedrunning.
Yeah, but it feels like a game, like a complete kind of side game within Deus Ex. Cool. So I like it.
Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. The main game at least. Very excited.
Yeah.
For where that's going to go. It's one of my most anticipated games of the year.
Absolutely.
We are working on a Deus Ex retrospective, which should go up. Hopefully, we will finish before the Mankind Divided comes out, and then
hell or high water.
I will work on the review. Hopefully, as soon as I can. As soon as that game comes out, or hopefully before, or maybe soon after. But thanks for watching.
How far out are we?
Coming up on it now. Not many spots I can set her down. You got a preference?
Get as close to the ground as you can. I'll take it from there.
Whatever you say, boss.